Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy New Year's. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update on what we might be looking for next year. A few of you guys have asked me, hey, is 2020 going to be the same in the housing market? Because people are wondering, hey, are property taxes going to go up? Is their house going to appreciate? Should they refinance? So I decided to answer that question today, this month. So, what did 2019 look like? Well, the housing market had low interest rates, of course, high demand and also limited supply. So we're going to see how all that affects the market this year. And so to get my information, I'd already been talking to a lot of other broker friends of mine, lenders, title companies, developers, and try to get some third-party statistics also to back up some of the data. So let's take a look and see what it might look like. So one thing is mortgage rates will most likely stay low, might even go lower. So I know a lot of people are like, hey, when interest rates are low for a while, it has to go up. But not necessarily. I think a lot of it is because if interest rates go up, there's less chance people would buy, and the economy slows down, and so people that are controlling the interest rates don't want us to slip into a recession really quick. I think that's a big part of it. So let's look at some numbers here. Right now, mortgage rates are around 3.75. This was as of September of 2019. A year ago from that date, September 2018, it was actually 1% higher. So we've actually seen a 1% decline. So also Mrs. Cushy, who's the deputy chief economist at First American Title, states that there's this emerging consensus that rates are going to remain low between 3.7 and 3.9. So it looks like we'll be below 4% for the most part. Freddie Mac and Mortgage Bankers Association had some different numbers. They say 3.5 to 3.6. So if you combine all this stuff, we're looking at 3.5. You can just say 3.5 to 4% for the next year. It's most likely where we're going to be at, according to these experts. Also, looks like prices will keep on going up, and there will be a couple reasons for that. We'll talk about that in a second. So, CoreLogic actually says that it should go up by 5.6%, and that's up from 3.5% that we saw last year. Now remember also, real estate's very micro location based industry. So, from one block to another block, it could change a lot. So, and also cities too, like Dallas and Nashville, places like that are really affordable and have strong economies, are going to see even a bigger growth, especially in the low entry home area, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. A lot of it has to do with just supply and demand as well as the low interest rates. So yeah, if you're upset at your property taxes this year, I mean, don't plan on it going down in 2020. So low inventory in general is kind of what we're seeing for the most part. There's some exceptions to all that, but there's a couple reasons. So one is not just like people are just building a lot of homes, but the average homeowner is actually staying in their home for 13 years. That's up from 8 years about a decade ago. So guess what? If people aren't selling their homes, there's nothing on the market to buy, and that's going to drive up the cost because the supply just isn't there. In some cities, some really small cities where there's low turnover, some people are averaging staying in their homes for 23 years, which is crazy. So now usually, the low rates are going to spur, purchases and makes it easier for buyers to get their home ownership, but there's also this increased risk of a long run housing shortage, and that's probably going to continue through 2020, maybe even a little bit longer. And we do have increased construction, and they're hoping that this will help with some of the inventory. In Dallas, I can speak about Dallas only for the most part, but a lot of the homes are in the higher end area, like 400,000 and up. But in lower price homes, we're not seeing as much construction. But in general, builder confidence is at a 20-month high, so they continue to build. They are saying that the demand is still going to be there, and they're right because some of the other trends that we're talking about today. So let's talk about the millennials. because they keep on buying, and the boomers are not, or just in general, older people are not buying as much. We'll find out why here in a second. So millennials are right now almost half of all mortgage originations last September. That's up a little bit, only 3% from a year before. And the older crowd, boomers and Gen Xers, are kind of going in the opposite direction. They've actually seen a drop in the amount of uh, loans originated. So that's an interesting trend right there. Even though there's a lot of boomers and Gen Xers, and even I think in 2025 they're expecting for more people, there'll be more people turning 65 than there will be new babies being born. So that's kind of interesting that the baby boomer generation is like one of the fastest growing segments of the population, and they're not buying anything new. So another interesting thing to note is millennials actually love owning homes. They actually rank it higher than getting married and having kids. So this is like number one on their list, basically. And so that's going to continue. That's going to continue. That's going to keep their home purchasing up. And they also have the low interest rates, and they're slowly getting more income with their job, so they're going to have more purchasing power in 2020. So you can see more of that. Now we take a look at where they're actually going to buy. They're going to be buying in the suburbs, most likely, for a couple reasons. One is, for example, a lot of y'all are in Dallas, but if you're in any major metropolitan area, you know that that's where home prices are the largest. If you're in downtown, middle of Dallas, in Highland Park, University Park, anywhere close to the action, home prices are really high. Millennials aren't going to buy there, so they're going to be going to more affordable places, some of the suburbs, towns on the outskirts of these metropolitan areas, and they're actually calling it hipsterburbia. This is a new trend where they want to get a nice house and live somewhere, but at the same time they don't want to pay an arm and a leg, but they still want to have those amenities of living in a major metropolitan area. They want to be able to walk to their Starbucks. They want to be able to walk to a nice restaurant or some social gathering place, maybe a park. And so now the suburbs that are offering that are going to get these millennial buyers. And people are saying that hipsterburbia might be one of the top real estate trends to watch in 2020. So we'll see how all that plays out. And that's pretty much it. That's just a quick little outlook of what we might be seeing next year, uh, or this year, I mean, since it's 2020. If you guys have any other real estate questions, let me know, and we'll talk to you guys later.